Welcome to another episode of Football Scientific with me, Aaron Sauter. I'm a writer for the UFL News Hub. I cover the San Antonio Brahms of the UFL, the CFL News Hub. I cover the Hamilton Tiger Cats of the CFL, footballanalysis1.com. I cover the Cincinnati Bengals. In these episodes of Football Scientific, we also cover the IFL, the Inter Football League, the NAL, National League, and the EFL, the European League of Football. Today we're going to dig in, looking at some of the transactions in the UFL. We're going to talk about CFL transactions, and a week from today is going to be the CFL Draft. They have two drafts. They have the Global Draft at 11 a.m. where you pick up two international players in 2 rounds of drafts. And then in the evening, they have the regular CFL Draft where you pick up to 8 national players. Some things will get more because they get compensatory picks. The Tiger Cats should get 8 though. Okay, so what I'm going to do today is go through my mock draft of the first 2 rounds of the CFL Draft so we can look back and see how I did in terms of predicting that. Usually it's a lower success rate in the CFL Draft. There's a lot of hidden information and things that are not well publicized from the CFL channels. So it's a little more exciting, I guess. But a lot of times the players are not going to make an instant impact like the NFL Draft. It can be more of a futures impact, So before I get started, I want to introduce my co-host, Wolfie D. I'm Wolfie D. I'm back in the house. Wolfie D is here. Whoop, 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 whoop. All right, Wolfie D. You've had a couple quiet days because we had the Easter Bunny here. Get rid of the Easter Bunny. Goodbye, Easter Bunny. And I've had to go through some quick episodes, so we didn't have so many talking parts for you, but we might get back to you today. Let's get back to me today. All right, so first in the UFL, several transactions occurred yesterday and then one big one today. So the Memphis Showboats, who are 0-4 in the league, they released defensive tackle Jamion Franklin, and they signed defensive tackle Devere Levelston. They're trying to find a way from SMU. They're trying to find a way to improve their team and get over the hump. They came up 1 point short of beating the Houston Roughnecks. Otherwise, they would have been 1-3. But they're still 0-4 right now. Michigan Panthers, they released quarterback Alan Bowman. Goodbye, Alan Bowman, who was brought on because Danny Etling was injured. They're predicting Danny Etling's going to be back, not injured this week. I have more news on that in a second. They moved to the injured reserve list. Middle linebacker Javen White, he's not injured reserve list. He's out for 5 weeks minimum. DC Defenders signed inside linebacker Raylan Goforth. He was on the fence of playing for the Panthers or the DC Defenders. They both need linebackers, but Raylan Goforth is now a DC Defender trying to reinforce their defensive front after they got beat down by the San Antonio Brahmas. Okay, Brahmas. Okay, speaking of the Brahmas, San Antonio Brahmas moved to IR tight end Alize Mack. He has not really had much impact this year anyway. They have a tight end they got from Iowa. So, I mean, he might come out and have a better time. Their passing game has not been all that. Alize Mack has not been a great blocker. He's on the injured reserve list now. He's been out at least 5 weeks, so I guess he's not going to be a big factor right now. Anyway, okay, boom, Arlington Renegades, they did a trade. Arlington Renegades did a trade with the Memphis Showboats. They received offensive guard J.D. DeRenzo from Memphis, and Memphis Showboats received offensive tackle Kellen Deach from the Arlington Renegades. So they're both trying to fix their offensive lines. Arlington Renegades trying to get their guard position reinforced and get the running game going again. They've been shut down the last couple of weeks. And then the Memphis Showboats are just trying to get pass protection and their quarterbacks are not getting destroyed. Okay, I would hate to be a Showboats quarterback, honestly. Next, St. Louis Battlehawks. They moved Manny Wilkins to the injured reserve list. They have not said what his injury was. Everyone believes it's an Achilles. They said it's a badly sprained ankle. It's hard to say what it is. But he's on the injury reserve list. So he's done for 5 weeks. Boom. Goodbye, Manny Wilkins. Goodbye, Manny Ball. Hello, Max Duggan. They once said they were all in on Max Duggan. But today they signed Brandon Silvers back. Brandon Silvers had been with the St. Louis Battlehawks last year as a backup. Really didn't play much. Didn't get re-signed this year. He had previously been in the XFL, the quarterback for the Houston Roughnecks, before they became the Houston Gamblenecks, and he was one of the better quarterbacks in the league. He wasn't a great quarterback. He was in a good offense with A.J. Smith. He meshed well with A.J. Smith. I don't know if he'll mesh real good with St. Louis. He didn't mesh well with them last year, but they need quarterbacks. They're running out. So good to see that they're running out quarterbacks. Brandon Silvers, good luck to you, man. Good luck to you. I was listening to you review the Brahmas, honestly, 2 years ago. But I guess it doesn't matter now. A.J. Smith's going anyway. So that's the deal there. Welcome back, Brandon Silvers. Welcome back. Thanks, Full PD. That was nice. Nice of you. Okay, Michigan Panthers trying to find new ways to shoot themselves in the foot. They're 3-1 and tied for first place with the Birmingham Stallions. But that's not good enough for head coach Mike Nolan. He says he's not sure if he's going to start Bryce Perkins, who's the top quarterback in the league so far in the UFL. He's not sure if he's going to start Bryce Perkins, who's on an MVP run right now the last couple weeks and will probably have a chance to be a championship quarterback. Or is he going to play Dan Etling, who's coming off injuries? Oh, tough call. If I'm Mike Nolan, does Mike Nolan want to win games? Is that the thing? Is he happy losing? I mean, they're 3-1. They're pretty good. I would start Bryce Perkins. Come on, man. He's played the best football. He's the most consistent quarterback in the league. He's got a running game. Yeah, he can run the ball. He can pass the ball. Danny Etling, all he's done is peek down his leg and got injured doing that. He must have slipped in the pee and hurt himself. So, I mean, is that even a decision? Mike Nolan, he's trying to Bryce Perkins, who's excellent and the top-rated quarterback in the league right now, or Danny Etling, who's a blending piece of poop. And that's why he's not the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers anymore. That's it. It's decisions like that. It's obvious. Start Bryce Perkins. Duh. All right. And the IFL's been a quiet start to the IFL week. We went to the power rankings yesterday. But the Tucson Sugar Skulls, they continue trying to make some noise. They signed defensive back Ahmad Lyons, so now they've improved their offense. They're trying to improve their defense. They're trying to make some moves. They're trying to make a run to the playoffs. They would be in the 4th spot right now after one win. So, I mean, it's early in the season, though. You never know what's going to happen. Tulsa Oilers, they have basically said we're going to reserve wide receiver Tyron Hall for the future. He's probably going on to the UFL. I haven't seen anything. Maybe CFL. That's what happens in IFL. Your best players go somewhere else. That's what the league's for. It's great entertainment for the fans. But essentially, for the players, the league is to go find something better. And maybe he's getting something better. So they're going to keep him on the roster, but he's just going to be reserved. Okay? All right, CFL. Lots of things going on. Not so much with transactions, but still, I'm going to go to that mock draft real quick. Today, BC Lions signed American defensive back Travion Blaylock. He played at Wisconsin, okay. And they signed American defensive lineman Kamiko Toure. That's pretty cool. Winnipeg Blue Bombers, they released national linebacker Max Charbonneau, who played at Ottawa in the U Sports. If you don't know about Canadian football, you won't know about Ottawa, but they're a team. They're a team, okay. Got it. All right. Okay. Now I'm going to go through my CFL mock draft. Round 1 and round 2. After round 2, things really kind of get unpredictable in the CFL. So I'm confident I can pick decent picks for the first 2 rounds. After that, it's going to be hard to say what's going to happen. So it's exciting to watch, I'll probably be watching on CFL.ca on the website. So I'll keep keeping up. But here we go. So round 1, the number 1 pick in the CFL draft this year. A reminder, they have a CFL Global Draft at 11 a.m. That's 2 rounds, picking international players, global players they call them, because obviously Canada is international compared to the United States. In Canada, you have global players that are from not Canada and not the United States. You have Canadian players that are called national players that are Canadian or of Canadian descent, like their parents are Canadian. Okay, and then or they became a citizen. You can do that too. Or you played U Sports football, you're an American, and you played U Sports football, you're a national then too. And then you have American players. American players are not eligible for the CFL draft. You're only picked up in free agency. They tend to be the best players in the league though, so the free agency is really important to keep an eye on. Okay, global players tend to be kickers and punters. Occasionally you get someone like a linebacker like Panay Pavihi, but they never seem to work out. So usually kickers and punters, long snappers, that kind of stuff. They excel there. I will cover that. I'm not covering it on a mock draft. It's too hard to tell. I have no idea. But in the CFL at the national draft, which will be at 8 p.m., that's for the national players. They played U Sports football, or they were born in Canada, or families from Canada originally. They're eligible in this draft. Okay, so some of them played for NCAA schools. All right, so here we go. Number 1 pick in the CFL draft this year. Next Tuesday, it's the Calgary Stampeders. And they are picking, in my mind, linebacker Connor Shea from Wyoming. He's played the best competition available. He's been very productive. He could get picked in the NFL draft, but I don't believe he will. So I think the Calgary Stampeders came out and said they're not going to pick futures guys. They want to pick guys who can play right now. And Connor Shea came from a high-level competition in NCAA FBS football at the Group of 5 school, Wyoming. He's probably not going to be picked in the NFL, so I think he'll be a great pick for the Calgary Stampeders. Connor Shea, linebacker Connor Shea. Handling Tiger Cats, whoop whoop, Tiger Cats. Okay, I suspect they'll pick defensive lineman Darian Newell. He went to Queen's, which is a university in the youth sports football in Canada. Okay, he is getting NFL attention. Now, if I cover NFL stuff for the Bengals, I haven't seen Darian Newell's name. So what may happen for him is he does not get drafted, but might get signed to a practice squad. Same difference for the Tiger Cats. They have to wait in line for him to come to Canada. You get paid way less in Canadian football than you do in NFL football, so we're going to take their shot there. But they need defensive linemen and linebackers. They need to upgrade that. They've been working on upgrading with free agents, but they need some national players. You have to have so many national players on the field at any point in time. We'll talk about that as we close to the season in case you're not adept at the CFL rules. But Darian Newell is getting NFL attention. He's had an outstanding season. He's an outstanding Canadian defensive lineman. He'd be a great addition to the Hamilton Tiger Cats. If they draft him, which I said they're going to draft him with number 2 pick, I don't know if they'll get to see him for a couple of years. Okay. Number 3, Ottawa Red Blacks. They are going to pick, in my mind, offensive lineman Eric Anderson, who played at University of Western Ontario. They have a very good running game. They always build great offensive linemen. They're like the lineman factory of the CFL, honestly, of the youth sports football. They produce great offensive linemen all the time. And Eric Anderson's the next in line to be a great offensive lineman from Western, and I think he's going to go to the Ottawa Red Blacks. Hamilton could also use him, and probably is a safer bet because he probably will come to camp. But I think they'll pick the defensive lineman and take a shot. That's what they tend to do. Number 4, Saskatchewan Roughriders. I have them picking defensive lineman Paris Shan from LSU. I've seen no NFL attention from his way, so it'd be a safe pick. They need defensive linemen to rebuild their line from a couple years ago. They had a lot of guys break rules and get kicked out of the league. So they need to get some outstanding defensive linemen. Number 5, Montreal Alouettes. I have them picking wide receiver Keelan White at Montreal. They released a lot of wide receivers from contracts this free agency. They didn't re-sign them, so they needed to restock the offense there. Winnipeg Blue Bombers, number 6. Pick, I have them picking offensive lineman Christopher Fortin from Connecticut, UConn. Probably going to be a great guy. He's not going to get an NFL look, so they'll come right out and play for Winnipeg Blue Bombers. That's a good call on their part. Offensive line, defensive line win in the CFL. If you have a great O-line and D-line, you're going to have a chance to win. If you have a decent quarterback and a great running back and some defensive backs, you're going to win a championship. That's the Toronto Argonauts. That's how they do it. So what are Toronto Argonauts going to do? Number 7 pick, I say they're going to pick defensive lineman Ali Saad from Bowling Green. Another FBS lineman, Group of 5 guy. I think they'll get him, and he'll help them win again. I hope they don't win another Grey Cup this year. Number 8, Calgary Stampeders. I have them picking defensive lineman Hayden Harris from Montana. Another good pickup that we give them 2 NCAA guys that will probably show up to camp that are not getting NFL looks right now. So remember they want to bring in guys who are going to play right now. They need to upgrade their defense. Obviously picking a linebacker and a defensive lineman. How did they get that pick? Remember they got their compensatory pick because BC Lions went over the salary cap. Okay, round 2, number 9 pick BC Lions. They got this pick via a trade with Calgary previously. I said they're going to pick defensive back Jackson Finley, who played at Western Ontario. They need some defensive back. That's where they have a decent quarterback. They have a good O-line. They have a decent D-line. They need a D-line help. But they really need back-end defensive help. They're not good there. And that's why Hamilton scores so many points against them. Even when they lose the game, usually they score a lot of points. Number 10, Hamilton Tigers taking another shot. Have them picking quarterback Taylor Elgersma. We played with Wilfred Laurier, who's in Ontario by the Hamilton area. He'll be a hometown guy. He's getting a lot of NFL looks right now, so I believe no matter what happens in the CFL draft, he will be taken into a mini camp and maybe even a training camp. So for the Hamilton Ticats, they would see him later. He's been an outstanding Canadian quarterback, though. He might be the next Nathan Rourke, really, other than Curtis Rourke, his brother played at IU, who's also going to be eligible. But I don't think anyone's taking him. He's going to go to the NFL probably, at least for a little bit. So Taylor Elgersma, that would add to an already loaded. They have a lot of quarterbacks in Hamilton Ticats right now. They got two of his little brother. They got a backup they really like. His name escapes me for the moment. They got Bo Levi Mitchell. They have another guy. So they are loaded at quarterback, but why not pick another one? And he's a local guy. I don't know if he'll show up on the field for them in the near future, but he probably will not get an NFL opportunity, not a real one. He'll get a look, but he won't get a real one. So he'll be with Ticats soon enough. Edmonton Elks, they've been loading up on their offensive defensive line, trying to win some games. I predict they're going to pick defensive lineman Isaiah Bagna, who played at BYU. Traditionally, Ed Herbert, their GM, likes to pick up NCAA guys. BC Lions, the number 12 pick. They get another pick. They're going to, in my mind, they're going to pick offensive lineman Sam Carson, who played Louisiana Monroe. Another guy who has NFL or NCAA experience, group of five experience. Be a good pickup for BC Lions. They need to get the running game going and pass protection for Nathan Rourke. He would be a guy to do it. Number 13, Ottawa Red Blacks. Linebacker Devin Verisak, who played at Windsor. Windsor had a huge year this year. I believe they lost to Laval Rouge et Or for the UFL U Sports National Championship, but Windsor had a great season, and linebacker Devin Verisak was a big part of that. So I think if he gets picked up by Ottawa, he'll be a good fit for them. And I think he'll definitely show up to camp for them. Number 14, Saskatchewan Roughriders. I got them picking number 14 pick. Offensive lineman Ethan Vibert, who played at South Dakota State. Obviously, South Dakota State in the FCS level, dominant team, always in the national championship picture, probably a good fit. Traditionally, the CFL is viewed as being similar to NCAA Division II football. So a guy who's excelling at the FCS level, dominant at the FCS level, will play really well in the CFL, and Ethan Vibert would be that guy, okay, for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. That would give them defensive lineman, offensive lineman. That sets them up pretty well. That'd be some good moves. Number 15, Montreal Alouettes. I have them drafting defensive lineman Jeremiah Ojo. He's from Montreal. They like to keep Montreal guys, Quebec guys in Montreal. So Quebec, Quebec City and Montreal. Montreal is the main place that has the college football teams there. So they have University of Montreal and they have Laval Rouge et Or, who's like a powerhouse in U Sports football. University of Montreal won the national championship 2 years ago, and they've already said they want to keep Quebec guys in Quebec. They want to keep them in Montreal. So picking up defensive lineman Jeremiah Ojo is a logical thing for them to do, and he already knows how to be great in Montreal. Number 16, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. I get them picking defensive back Nate Boachman. He played at Calgary, similar to the Montreal look. He's from the Prairie. Manitoba is the Prairie. Saskatchewan's the Prairie. Alberta is the Prairie. So he's from the Prairie part of Canada. He'd be a good defensive back for them. They know how to build a team. They're going to build their back end, their D-line, their O-line, and their running back and quarterback are already locked down for the most part, at least for this year. So that's why they keep making it to the Grey Cup Championship 5 years in a row. They've only won 2, both against Ticats, but they have made it to 5 straight. Okay, number 17, Toronto Argonauts, who've won 2 out of the last 3 Grey Cup Championships. I have them picking wide receiver Damian Alford from Utah. That'd be a great pick for them. They have Chad Kelly as a quarterback. He's good. It'd be a good pickup for them, okay? And that's the first 2 rounds of the CFL draft next Tuesday. That's what I think is going to happen. And we'll find out next week. I'll keep tabs on it. I'll have a show about it. CFL draft, okay? The NFL draft happens this week, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So that's, hot on the stove. So I'm going to go through some news and notes from the NFL. A lot of this is about the NFL draft. So, one team in the NFL has basically looked at the quarterbacks available at this draft, and they didn't. I don't know which team it is, but they said their scouts looked at them and said none of these quarterbacks are any good. None of them are first-round picks. Cam Ward is not a first-round guy, and they would be the 7th best quarterback last year in the quarterback draft, okay? So Tennessee Titans, they're probably going to, they said they're not going to trade out the number 1 pick. They're going to pick Cam Ward. I think this is a bad year to pick a quarterback as number 1. They should definitely trade out of that pick, but they're not going to. They said they're going to pick him. So we'll see. This looks like a bad decision to me. And another team, at least another team in the league says that's a bad decision. Chicago Bears, they could trade up to draft running back Ashton Jeanty. That feels like a Chicago Bears move. They're very good at wasting their picks and not trusting their picks, so they can give their picks to someone else and trade up and get Ashton Jeanty, really spoiling the party for the Raiders and the Jaguars and whoever else wants Ashton Jeanty. Patriots, maybe. So the Chicago Bears, they are reckless enough to do that. They don't need to make sense. They've always said, we don't need to make sense. New England Patriots, they love LSU offensive tackle Will Campbell as likely to be the pick in the number 4 pick. I have them picking a tackle, Armand Membu, but the Patriots are not leaking that they would like Will Campbell from LSU. We'll see. Okay. Next, Dallas Cowboys. They had a visit with free agent quarterback Stephon Gilmore today. He's not related to Happy Gilmore. San Francisco 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy. Still discussing his deal, but he's attending a voluntary offseason workouts. He's like, hey, I don't like the deal so far, but I'll attend the workouts. Let's be a team player. And tight end George Kittle is not. He's like, nah, I need to get paid way more, y'all, to go to these voluntary workouts. You see, the problem going to a voluntary workout if you want a better contract is that if you get hurt by chance at these voluntary workouts, then you've cost yourself a lot of money. So while some people will be like, well, they're being babies not going to their workouts because they want to get paid more, that's their leverage. That's the only leverage they have, okay? So that's why George Kittle's sitting out of those workouts, okay? Pittsburgh, it doesn't cost me, then they're not going to, it's voluntary. They're not going to fine him for that. That's not like training camp or anything. Okay, Pittsburgh Steelers, General Manager Omar Khan says that we only have 2 quarterbacks right now. We go to camp with 4 quarterbacks no matter what. We need 2 more quarterbacks. Is Aaron Rodgers going to be one of them? No one knows. No one knows. But if he's not, they need 2 quarterbacks still. I've heard very interesting Kirk Cousins, but Falcons are like, you can't have Kirk Cousins unless you're going to pay him $20 million of his $45 million contract. Oh, we're going to keep him as a $45 million backup. What? Okay. Okay, Las Vegas Raiders. They are interested in quarterback. They're saying they're interested in quarterback Jalen Milroe now. They hope he can draft him. He can learn behind Geno Smith. If he's available in the 2nd round, they may pick him. I'll say that. I don't think I pick him in the 1st round. This might be a smokescreen. Minnesota Vikings. They're saying, hint, 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 that they would rather have Kirk Cousins back in Minnesota than have Aaron Rodgers. Okay. So the team would rather have Kirk Cousins back. So if someone makes a move on Kirk Cousins, Minnesota is a definitely a candidate. Their team said we'd rather have Kirk Cousins than Aaron Rodgers any day. Way cooler to hang out with and stuff. So we'll see what happens there. That might be a hint, hint, hint. Cleveland Browns, New York Giants. They're taking calls right now. They're fielding calls for trades for the second, number 2 and number 3 picks. So they're not happy with what they want to see. I think Cleveland's going to take Travis Hunter. I think New York Giants are going to take that cornerback, Will Johnson, I would say. He may get Abdul Carter. It's too hard of a decision for them. They're saying, we don't trust our picks. We would rather trade out of this. Who's going to let them off the hook and trade out? The Bears. The Bears would let them get off the hook. And take Ashton Jeanty. That would be a horrible decision by the Bears and save the Browns and or the Giants from destroying themselves. Destroy the Bears instead. Good call. Okay, Chicago Bears, GM Ryan Poles. They traded with the Kansas City Chiefs for offensive guard Joe Thuney. He only has 1 year left on his contract. They're making him top priority to get an extension on his contract and get and secure him long term. But they don't feel like doing that right now. He's their top priority for free agency and restructuring contracts, but they're not interested right now. Maybe later. He's their top priority. That's confusing. Cleveland Browns linebacker Jeremiah Owusu. Boom. Owusu Koromoa. He's attending voluntary workouts. So he hurt his neck in 2024, and he missed a lot of the season, but he's back and he's in voluntary workouts. That's a good sign that he may play. Dallas Cowboys cornerback Stephon Gilmore spotted during a pre-draft press conference in Dallas. Remember, he was there visiting. People were seeing him. They're like, hey, that's Stephen Gilmore. Not Happy's little brother. Oh, okay. Different family. Next, NFL continues. Indianapolis Colts wide receiver Michael Pittman. He says he's going to be back. He had an injury in 2024 where he missed a large part of the season. He says no surgery needed on that. He's been training since mid-March. No surgery needed. He's going to be ready to go. That's good for the Colts. Tennessee Titans GM Mike Borgen is saying right now, he's hitting his desk, we are not going to trade our number 1 pick. We're picking someone. Cam Ward. He didn't say that. He said we're not trading our pick. Maybe he's just trying to entice the Steelers to trade up. The Steelers are like, we don't want to trade up. Because we're the one that says he's the 7th best quarterback last year. I don't know that either. Let me throw that out there. That would make sense. Pittsburgh Steelers running back Jaylen Warren has signed a 1-year restricted free agent tender with the Steelers, so they have him back for another season. Dallas Cowboys general manager owner Jerry Jones says, hint, hint, hint. We're looking to make some trades, yo. We're looking for some business before or after the draft. It's very generic. But he says, we're looking to make some substantial trades. He's calling people right now. Hey, man, come on, go on, give me on down here. Go. I don't know if he talks like that in Texas, but Boomhauer does. It's funny to think about Jerry Jones as Boomhauer. Hey, man, don't go, Dak Prescott, man, get down here and trade for him, Steelers. You need a quarterback. Okay. They need a quarterback, too. And they have Dak Prescott. I don't know. Okay, all right, even thinking that. Okay, Arizona Cardinals offensive tackle Paris Johnson Jr. Says he's signing. He's gonna keep playing. Yay! Hey, he got injured last year. He says, I'm back. I'm ready to go. I'm gonna do this thing. That's good for the Cardinals, and they're in Kyler Murray, so he doesn't get crushed. Okay. Buffalo Bills running back James Cook, who's already said he wants a contract extension. He would like to get paid more. He had a great year last year. 2 years ago, he had a much better year, though. But he's not going to participate in voluntary workouts for the same reason I said before for George Kittle. If you want to get paid more, you're not going to work out voluntarily. Not because you're not a team player, but because if you get hurt, then you're definitely not going to get paid more. And you've already ruined your only point of leverage as a player. Okay. He said he is going to, this is the final year's contract. He would like a contract extension ASAP. He thinks he's played well for them, but I think they can get better. I mean, honestly, they might draft someone this year. They get Cam Scatterby. Goodbye, James Cook. I'm saying he's the same kind of runner. Detroit Lions signed offensive lineman Michael Nice, taking care of business there. LA Rams could be looking for a trade partner. They're looking to maybe trade for Jalen Ramsey, which is weird because Jalen Ramsey was with the Rams before he went to Miami, but he couldn't find any parking for the beach. Now he's looking to go back to go somewhere else, and the Rams are like, we really didn't dislike Jalen Ramsey. We could trade with the Dolphins and get him back after the draft. We're going to see what happens after the draft. We're not going to do it. It's not a top priority, but we could trade for him and bring him back. And we have plenty of parking. It's all $20 an hour, though. Something like that. It's crazy. Minnesota Vikings sign offensive lineman Trevor Reed. San Francisco 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey, for those fantasy fans out there who keep getting crushed by Christian McCaffrey, like me. In 2024, he tore his PCL. That's the really thick one in your knee. He says, I'm back and ready forever. I'm working out. I'm feeling good. And he's participating in the offseason program, unlike George Kittle. He's like, I'm back and better than ever. He always says that. And then I draft him, and then he gets hurt again. And it's so sad. Atlanta Falcons, surprise. If you remember a couple months ago when Kirk Cousins was talking about maybe getting traded or whatever, doesn't want to be the highest paid backup in the history of the NFL, $45 million to be a backup. I wouldn't mind that. I'll take $45 million to be a backup. I will not play for $45 million. But head coach, at that time, head coach Raheem Morris said, do I think Kirk Cousins is going to show up to voluntary workouts? No. Why would he? But Kirk Cousins showed up. Oh, what? He didn't show up. So Raheem Morris was wrong. That's it. He's wrong about his draft picks. He's wrong about his depth chart. He's wrong about Kirk Cousins. Well, not Kirk Cousins not being the quarterback. I mean, I think Michael Penix Jr. is a better quarterback, but he's wrong about not coming to workouts. Whoop, whoop. All right, he's trying to say, Vikings, I'm still a team player. Y'all can hang out with me. I'm not Aaron Rodgers. And the Vikings are like, that's true. Stuttgart Surge, and we're going to the European League of Football before you get shook by me talking about German teams here. In the European League of Football, Stuttgart Surge very active today. They have signed veteran Italian defensive lineman Giuseppe Della Vecchia. Okay, he had played previously for the Stuttgart Surge. He's also an all-star for the German Football League, and he's an Italian Bowl champion 2023. So, I mean, he's a pretty decorated European player, okay? He's been with a Stuttgart Surge. You're building up, okay? Wide receiver Timmy Braun. He's going to be re-signed. He also is a kicker. He's a kicker and wide receiver. Their kicker, Lenny Craig, was signed by the Falcons after the international tryout day at the Combine. He's with the Falcons for $3 million a year. Stuttgart Surge are like, we can't do that. So they got a wide receiver, Timmy Braun, who's capable of also being the kicker. In 2021, he was 2 for 3 for field goal attempts in the L. That's not a great kicker, but it's better than no kicker. Versus where the Brahmas were at last week until Tristan Vizcaíno stepped up for us. We got the win. Whoop, whoop. Okay, Stuttgart Surge still veteran defensive back Della Vecchia. He returns to. I said that already. Boom. He had 19 tackles and 8 solo tackles 2023 for the Surge, and he's one of the. They won the European Championship. This is a different guy. Is this a different guy? Different guy. No, that's him. He won a European Championship also with the Parma Panthers. Okay, so he's been around Europe quite a bit. He's got some championships. He's not going to be the best player for them, but you got to have good homegrown talent, and he's a good homegrown talent player. So that's the news for today. That was my CFL mock draft for the first 2 rounds. That's going down next Thursday. It should be fun. NFL drafts this Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That should be fun. Check out my articles on UFL News Hub about the San Antonio Brahmas, CFL News Hub about the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and footballanalysis1.com for my Cincinnati. I'm writing a bunch of Cincinnati Bengals articles this week about who they'll draft. I'll finish that series today and tomorrow before the draft starts, and we'll talk about the analysis of the draft and grade the draft after that. Should be a good time had by y'all, or at least by me. And if you enjoyed the show, like it. And if you didn't, don't like it. I probably won't check either way. And then subscribe to the channel. Let's get 100 subscribers. We're at 81 still. Let's get 100, okay? That'd be great. Wolfie D, you got anything to add? Let's see. Have your friends subscribe to Football Scientific. We love them, and we'll give them cupcakes. Well, we won't give them cupcakes. We won't give you cupcakes. My bad. Okay, we're not gonna give them food. We're not giving you food. Sorry. My bad. Okay, all right. I got really weird for a minute. Okay, so welcome. Come back tomorrow for another Football Scientific. What are we gonna talk about? I don't know. We'll find out. Okay, the Football Scientific portal closes now. Knocked over Corky.